Hey, I think you know why I'm wearing pink. It's Pink October, and that is to raise awareness for not only breast cancer but all cancers. I mean, you see all these different colors of ribbons, but I mean, and that's great. It's great to raise awareness. I think a lot of people, and especially a lot of young people, and this is both men and women. I mean, men should be doing prostate checks, and women should regularly be checking their breasts. And I think that that's a responsible thing to do. And you know, if anything, it's sooner rather than later. And if you're old enough to be responsible like that, you should be. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about my own experience. But I really, really recommend it. So, yeah. But I thought I'd read from my book, or at least try. And I don't know where I left off, but I'm just opening it on this. It looks like just a page, so I think that will make it a short video. Okay. An inner bond which cannot be broken could sometimes be ignored, but it remains with you throughout your life. When in doubt, use your gut. Another gift, something that has always been here and has consistently proven itself worthy in times of need, is one's gut. You know, that gut feeling, your gut, your guide. I can go on. Because I feel as if this is weird to read, so I might do this video again. Or I might just post it like this. Because I feel as if gut is rather an unattractive word. I took the liberty of changing it to guide, which is, and I think you can agree, universally understandable and recognizable in some way, shape, or form. I'll add on to that. In some way, shape, or form. Not necessarily like a tour guide, but not necessarily a round orange that you must eat, but you get the concept. Yeah, some perceive their guide as God, a higher power, a little voice in their head, not the evil one, the good one. We all have our inner critic, and that's something we should face, definitely, with our gut feelings. Definitely face it with what you believe is the higher power, and that gives light and love to you, and that keeps you, and that you can have hope. And yeah, and it's so important to embrace the other parts of you. It's like the principles of light, or let's just say in a loosely termed way, but there's many different disciplines in which light is needed and explained, but I'll just use I'll just speak freely. So and I'll reference to a tattoo here on this finger. That's just like a moon outline that I drew. I drew it with a pen, and I drew all of these just with a normal pen, and I went to that tattoo artist and I was like, cool, and he drew just over them. I would explain them all, but I'll just explain this one. It's not to represent a certain phase of the moon, it's just a symbol of the moon to say there's always light even if it's dark. And that is true for almost everything. In fact, you can't have one without the other. And I mean, that's so important to understand. I mean, if we just had light and no darkness, we would not be able to see it, but everything would be overexposed, like the terminology in photography. If we just had black, we could not see either. and we have both. Sometimes you feel like it's fully dark, and I think with that one, I mean, I've experienced that a lot, but it then takes a little bit of effort to choose to try and adjust your focus, adjust your eyes to be able to adapt in the dark to receive the light that is there. Even if it's a tiny piece of the moon, if it's a single star that you go outside and you can see in the sky, that's proof. Mentally, inside of your mind, inside of your being, and I know this can get tough inside, but you, and also outside of you as well, but it's honestly, you won't be able to discern, you won't be able to understand, you won't be able to be you and breathe and everything if those two components weren't together. And so within us, we've got both the light and the dark. And sometimes we concentrate a little bit too much on the darkness. It's more about embracing that. I think it's more deeper side, and it's dark to us because we're not so used to it. And it doesn't mean we're evil, but definitely, if you're full of fear and things like that, definitely get somebody to pray for you, or seek some kind of way through which you can, for lack of better words, but also to put it lightly, cope, but also help find a system for you to handle or work through fear, or understand that in a different way. Because the darkness that you might see in yourself, or all the parts of you that you hate, probably for reasons that make you feel worse about that, and usually those all a lie. It's and I don't know why us humans are so hard on ourselves, but we don't always have to be. Understand discipline, and I think that's important. It's important to be responsible as well. I am someone who's used to, and I'm working on it, be a little too hard on myself. It got to a stage where I was seeing a psychologist, and he was the first one to ever really define that a little bit more clear to me. He said, and he did the hand movements as well. He said, "Darling, you are hammering yourself. You're hammering yourself." So I heard that, and I was like, oh, okay. So I am being a little bit hectic, and that points to, like, I was struggling in sort of seeing things in a darker perspective, and then like really being hard on myself and not gentle, not with love, not with light, and not optimism. I wasn't actually being fair. So I mean, if you think of black and white, if you think of light and dark, I'm not going to go good and evil, because that's not necessarily at all the thing, Sometimes it's the shallow, that more close to the surface, closer to the light where you can see, and then sometimes it's deeper and darker, but darker in the way because it's deep. And it might be scary, but it's not something always that you should be scared of. It's just that apprehensiveness, and it's something that you don't know. I mean, everyone is yet to grow and get to know the rest of their potential selves. And I know that a lot of people, and I've been there, may feel stuck or may feel hesitant to move forward because there's something in their way. Often that thing in your way is you, or the other parts of you that you have yet to embrace, but you're scared. And also, a lot of people struggle with identity, and think that there's something wrong with them. That's not true. I think we're all created with the intention, that we're each a good mixture and a good balance, and that we're not created wrong. I don't think anyone should think of themselves as a mistake, or feel that they have to correct themselves, or trust me, it wastes a lot of time times and experiences, but you're more. It's more worth it to try and embrace you and all of you, even the parts that you kind of want to kind of delete from yourself, and you may like you may be hiding, or you may not have identified yet or grown to see that in you yet. I mean, that's the thing about life. You grow and you learn, and it's about being open also to you, and it's often a personal thing, you know. You shouldn't let anyone else define who you are. That can be constricting, but also at the same time, it's about you also needing to know that you have a decision in that, and you don't have to allow that definition or give yourself a definition, and that is somehow the sum total of you with no space for add-ons. And I definitely don't think that adding titles or labels to yourself is helping. I mean, but if it does make you feel better, or if it does make you feel more of who you are, or it's part of your growth process, okay, great. But just know that, you know, let's use the tunnel example. Because it's often that saying, you know, and people relate to it a lot. So I feel like it's a good one to speak about. That, like, if you're in that tunnel place, and the saying is there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And you got to keep going to get to the end of the tunnel, then you see the light. So it's not endless. You just got to keep going. If you stay stuck, or if you stop moving, then it might take longer, or, you know, you kind of stay there purposefully for I don't know what reasons. It'll be harder to kind of move, but you will still be able to move. And most certainly, it's not any kind of place that you would want to stay. If you're in a tunnel and it's get to the other side, or get to the end of the tunnel to see the light, it means you kind of got to keep moving. And you will be okay, because, you know, you will be okay. You just keep on keeping on, you keep on heading there. You will get there eventually, probably sooner than you would think. And probably at the point where you really just feel like giving up, but you just give that extra push. And then on the other side, light, love, blessing, everything. And it's a huge relief, and you feel like it's worth it, and it adds just so much more to your life, and you feel gratitude and things like that. And that's not about pushing yourself to the limits. It's not about hurting yourself or going into extremes. It's just moving towards and aiming towards the light, what we all are attracted to. And often people feel stuck, and I feel for them. And a lot of people feel consumed by the darkness that they're in, or the depths of what they have to go through, and things like that. I mean, Lord knows I have experienced that as well. But I'm not trying to say life is easy. It's definitely hard. It's hard. but it is also extremely beautiful. It's incredibly beautiful. And it takes time, and the amazing thing about time, especially if you stop trying to control it, and you kind of just work with time, you know where you are, you know what was and what the future is. You can aim for, and you can sort of have a direction towards an outcome, but you can't control the future either, and you shouldn't be fearing the future. Or the past. If you are doing that, then it's probably something in your present that you gotta face, and you don't ever have to do that alone. And it's probably helpful that you don't take on that type of thinking, that you think, I must do this alone, I must. Nobody said you must. And there's all kinds of ways to reach out. If not spiritually, then there's people. Maybe those people are not your friends. Maybe it's just a call center or a support group for help. Maybe it is a stranger that you need to either listen to or have a conversation with. Maybe it's just the acts and the actions that you do. I mean, you can take 5 minutes a day, sit down, look up, like get that posture open, and look up at the sky, and like be surprised, or you just won't know what you see until you do that. And you can stay there for a bit, let some light go into your eyes, and then come down, sit down, and sort of be in a place where you can sit and be peaceful. So be still and in a peaceful way in your head, sort of wanting that peace. And so sort of being in the moment and just observing what's around you. Doing that in nature or close to nature, or just trying to spot a bird or something. And it's using like your senses, and it's engaging with the outer and inner senses, and you have to kind of use a different part of your brain, and you activating things in your body. You're breathing. Breathing is really important. Intentionally taking those 5 minutes every day, and that's honestly not hard. Sometimes it is, like, but when I skip a day, I feel bad about it. I feel, okay, now I need to really start. I am human, and so then don't hammer myself. I'm like, okay, it's okay. Just breathe. It's not to be hard on yourself. You didn't miss out. You don't have to feel bad, but tomorrow or whenever you can, just get back to the daily 5 minutes. That daily sitting, peace, be still, observing, look up, get some light in your eyes, close them, know that in that time you can just be. You can just be. You don't have to be anything specifically. You can just be in the present, like right now. Here, now, that's it. Don't have to look at the time. You can just be like, and to look outside, or to just even close your eyes. I mean, and listen and notice a sound that you haven't noticed before, like a bird or something like that. And I don't want to sound like some hipster, but I mean, it is a practical thing that you can apply every day. I've done it, and when I skip a day by accident, I'm not hard on myself, but I then do try to be intentional even more, to make sure that I get back on track with that, because it is so helpful. And it helps with gratitude, and it helps with the flow of gratitude as well, because I know we can all complain, and there's and sometimes those are too much, and I find that what balances that out is things to be grateful for. And then I wouldn't say there's an endless list of excuses to give. I think that is like a statute of limitations. There's just like, when you hear things repeatedly, and I have, and then it's like, okay, no, no, thank you. I want to hear about something that was good in your day, something that you're grateful for, because honestly, that list is endless. It really is endless. So, and there's so much that's just like out there, and also in you about yourself. But I know that takes work. To be grateful for parts of you. I think I recommend sort of starting small. Try your eyes. I mean, if you look at your whole self in the mirror, and also it's also like, do it with a good perspective, like in your mind, like you need to have like prepped your head and sort of become ready for it with a like intention, or like with a mindset that's not like already decided that this is what you are and blah blah blah, and therefore you go to, let's say, a mirror, and then you seek that, and you see that, and you believe that that's true. But it all originated like not where you could see. And so by the same token, if you approach it from a light aspect, more positive aspect, more from grateful and a more loving, like if you are going to this that mirror practice, I don't always think that that's helpful. For me, I've had interesting experiences with that's why I can say sometimes approaching it just with the intent of trying to look at into my own eyes and really trying to feel in my heart, in my mind, and try and picture it and try and it's not about, for me, like a smile can help, but it's more about my eyes, and it's really difficult sometimes, and but it's about trying to look and at someone you love, and the aim eventually is yourself, and that is super hard, but it's, for me, the discovery and the thing that lifts you up there is more that when you are able to see that you can look into another's eyes with love, when you see that, you feel better. So yeah, and it helps with your perspective, so that's another thing. But I've had opposite experiences, which made me sort of storm away from the mirror, like, no thanks. So just be gentle on yourself. Anyway, I'm just gonna, that goes for everyone. We all want love, we all want light, and I can say for myself, definitely you are welcome anytime to reach out to me. I've been through a lot in my life, and I tend to think sometimes that I've been through certain things simply for the purpose that another person doesn't have to go through all of that. They can reach out and talk and be understood and have someone to listen to. But also there are amazing resources out there, and if you need any sort of resource, just also let me know. Anyway, so okay, let me just run through this real quick. Okay, I'm just going to start from the top. An inner bond which cannot be broken could sometimes be ignored, but it remains with you throughout your life. When in doubt, use your gut. Another gift, something that has always been here and consistently proven itself worthy in times of need, is one's gut. But I feel as if gut is rather an unattractive word. I took the liberty of changing it to guide, which is, and I think you could agree, universally understandable and recognizable in some way, shape, or form. Some perceive their guide as God, a higher power, a little voice in their head, or even their own basic intelligence. They all provide survival instincts when one is in a state of confliction. I've never heard of anyone who has never had a gut feeling. There is, without a doubt, a guide in all of us. One cannot simply deny its existence. It presents itself diversely and is able to communicate to each and every one of us, no matter what language or ability. Our guide is one of our most powerful universal gifts that we all share. One can be solaced in the fact that this guide will always be present when facing uncertainty, and especially when all else fails. It will always be there to assist you if you should need it. Always. Your guide is an incredibly useful asset. It is a fundamental connection to your inner spirit. This bond cannot be broken, it cannot be sent away. It's a permanent backup plan built into your natural system. Look at me when I was 18 going through traumas, saying this stuff. I guess, yeah. Cool, man. Granted, sometimes it is exclusively disregarded. But then lessons are learned. So, win-win. It is much like instinct. Invisible, but one knows it exists. one is distinctly aware of it. And if you're not, look out, be open, become aware, level up. So when you feel you have nothing to rely on, you actually do. We all have a guide. Remember that. When in doubt, go back to the basics. Use your guide. You may find it helpful to use as an aid of some kind. Well, it definitely is an aid. Like survive. Keep your guide up your sleeve, and you never know when you might need it. With the right intention, it may become your most trustworthy incentive. So I think they have put it lightly, and I mean, if anything, I just want to say, love, sending love. Check, please. Every year, this year, I had to go for a mammogram, and I do self-breast checks, and I also am associated with I hook up with the Cancer Foundation. I try and check what's out. I think it's very important to show love and support, that you support survivors, with those who pass, those who are busy fighting, and basically just everyone and people that are around them, trying to be supportive. And and I just want to sort of hit one topic quickly. I kind of like the raw warrior kind of statement, fuck cancer. Well, that might make this video be deleted. But, cool, fight cancer. And it's more about, fighting for life. That is something I truly understand. And it's hard. It is not easy. I mean, you've got to show love. This is for everyone, but I mean, you can at least do checks on yourself. If you're a young woman and you can understand and follow a diagram, it's simple, and you can start checking. It doesn't matter if it was in your family, but if it runs in your family, you are most of you supposed to check. You should be checking, and also, that should become a norm to you. And it's checking pre your pre-game there. I mean, that's what I'm trying to highlight here. And I can talk about a whole lot of topics to do with cancer itself. And I just want to touch on something. And it might be a little sensitive, but it's just my sort of perspective. And I welcome any kind of conversation that can come from that. So I have a problem with people. People who sort of say, that it's hard to describe now. Say that, let cancer die. That's a good one, yeah. But they sort of hate cancer and what cancer does, and this is a touchy subject. And let's say it's just with a group of people. Let's say it's with someone. Doesn't matter what the person's name is. I'm just giving an example. And they hate cancer and what cancer is doing to their loved one. But their loved one might be taking chemo to help fight the cancer, or have chosen that path to try. My personal views on that, I just feel is for another time. There's a variety of different ways to go. I mean, we should all be seeking healing in any case. And you should have support around you, you should have love around you, and that is a general thing. but people with cancer who have been diagnosed, who are going through treatments, and chemo is a heavy one. It's heavy. Radiation is like hectic too, and also to know that to get the diagnosis and what goes on inside of you as that person. I want other people to know you've got to just be there. Be there. You don't quite know what they're going through. A person with cancer, and maybe you do, and therefore you can be someone who can be there to support, who can understand, can listen, um, and or can just sort of be there and be accepting and be gentle. I mean, what a person has to go through and how it affects the brain. It's like, and the side effects from certain treatments, and like, people forget about chemo. They say, I hate cancer when someone's going through chemo, and they kind of, but either or, it's like a whole totality of I hate cancer. But if to separate the stuff, like both are kind of like not like a should be taken care of, should be sorted out, should not be ignored. You should try and be checking. You should remind other people to check. If you lost someone to cancer, or if you are prone to it, or if you're just responsible, or if you feel that you have nothing to do with it, at least for like one day, or at least like for some reason. I mean, put it in your goals to do something to support that cause, in support of that cause. Whether you donate, whether you make a pink ribbon, whether you give something or do a kind act for someone with cancer, for someone who survived cancer, you listen. Maybe that kind act is just reading up on it. And I recommend to anyone that's supporting a family member or a loved one with cancer, go read up on what they're going through, at least the facts. And also don't lie. Don't lie to those people. Be genuine, be kind, be sensitive to what they're going through. It's a lot. And that's why it is relevant to say, to fight cancer. It is a fight. And it changes you, and it's hard for the individual to, there's just a lot of feelings and stuff, and it's like, don't walk away from that person, don't take their life for granted. And like, yeah, if now you know, it's still Pink October, and I want to highlight, like, there's this question I saw on a banner, who do you wear pink for? And I'm not going to answer that directly for me, but it's more of a, if you were to see that banner, and like, who do you wear pink for? Do you wear pink? Are you aware of cancer? Do you check yourself? Do you do your self-checks? Have you done a check this year? Self-check. When you go to your GP, you can also request for them, could they do a quick check for you? And sometimes that is just the norm. For me, it's the norm. And yeah, it's really important. These things are really important. And I know a lot of people want to sort of shout and think, I want a cure, but it's also like, instead of rioting, try and spread love and awareness about, like, it's really important. It's really important to understand a lot of people are affected, and a lot of people are lonely in that. There's not enough awareness. And a lot of people just don't know, and yet there is endless information out there. I mean, yeah, and a lot of people die from cancer. A lot of people die. A lot of people die just from their organs shutting down. Yes, they had cancer, and they were surviving on you know, it's different scenarios, and maybe they do have cancer, and it's a type of cancer that's sort of slow and has a hasn't got a nearby due date, but it does cut off the longevity of your life. And with that, I would say, kind of don't say, well, life can just go, and then you live miserably, and don't be don't become a victim. You're a victor. You're a victor. And if anything, if you want to hold on to anything, or if you want to give anything, if you want to help someone identify something, hope, hope. And if you're ever in a place where you find yourself when you're in your own head, it's a type of wilderness, it's a type of place in a dark tunnel, or it's a type of in the middle of the desert or something. And I'm not saying you could turn a light switch to just believe, but and that's not something that I'm going to talk about right now. But I want to say that you can grab a hold of hope. I mean, or you can just have hope. You have access to it, just hope as a thing. But I have hope. You can put it in your sentences, in your words that you speak over. You're going to complain, and just sort of vent as well, and then just end it off. Just close that thing, just seal it up with, but I have hope. But I'm grateful for still breathing. For me, and this was a practice, and I'm not going to go too deep, but yeah, I'm not gonna, okay, but, you know, to sort of try and gain an understanding, or try to sort of work towards, if you can, you know, learning gratitude and practicing gratefulness, and eventually, you know, you'll get more of a feel for it, and then it can become like, you can, it's like mindful, and it's like being, just sort of connecting with just being. And it's not that you like have an outer body experience, but you have a very awake, I'm here, just flow, everything's just happening, and you're just in the present. The time is now. The time is now. If you can become grateful for your breath, and it is something to be grateful for, in yourself and in others, any other person. That's something you can be grateful for, just as a thing. It's not hard to understand that. And also, to everyone, absolutely everyone, but especially if you need this, if you are still breathing, I need you to know that you matter. If you are still breathing, keep on breathing. I'll ask you to do that. Would you do that? Just keep breathing. Try. And that's on the purpose that you matter. You matter. And there are resources to reach out to. And in terms of cancer, that is why I'm wearing, here's my pink. My lips were pink. And I've got many reasons why I'm passionate about the cause. I've got plans as well to to do. And for me, I see the Pink October thing as an opportunity because other people can understand it as well. But I definitely advocate for men. You've got the down there. You need to check that. Hope you probably interact with it often, but yeah, just check. Go, and then women, at least check your breast, please. And if you don't want to do that, go to your GP practitioner and do that. If you don't know how to do that, Google it, go on Pinterest, or even, and these are the resources that I want to give. You can Google this as well, and I can also give you the not answers, but various different numbers. But cancer, CANSA. That's in South Africa. It's a huge organization. There's lots of information, lots of sort of infographics that you can look at and help you. There's resources there, but there's a lot of foundations as well, NGOs, and they also have resources. And I recommend that you reach out for support in that kind of way, even just to get references to support groups or to whatever you may need, even if it's to get a counseling session, or you have questions that you want to ask, or you want to become involved in something. I recommend that you do. And then I also want to just say that look, your head is a part of your body. You have a brain. It's a gift. And you've got a mind and a mental space. That mental health is part of your overall health. If you have not checked before, check your mental health, or at least start doing things to help improve your mental health. It does not matter who you are, and but I recommend that if you are not, if you know in yourself something's not right, or you're concerned, don't keep it to yourself. Don't reach out for help. So I recommend the SADAG, SADAG. It's a wonderful organization. They have a suicide hotline. They've got a general hotline. They've got various numbers which you can call for various different resources. They've just launched about 22 new types of support groups. A lot of them are virtual, and that's an absolutely wonderful forum. Absolutely great. And they often can help refer you and guide you to where you can get help. And in each and every way, though, I'm gonna ask you again: would you keep breathing? And don't keep it to yourself if you're struggling, or at least try and find or seek someone, even if it's a professional, to talk about what you're going through. I know that it can be hard, and I personally, I talk to a psychologist. I have other doctors that I can talk to as well, but to work through things and very personal, deep things, especially things that I don't generally don't want to bring up because they're heavy and personal in conversation, like just because that wouldn't be such light conversation. But I don't stop myself from talking about it. I'm not closed off with talking about it or sharing about it, or if I bump into someone and I feel I could say something, or I could relate, or I feel I can lend an ear and really, really listen to what they're saying, and that is also an act of kindness. And that's not about charity. It's about being kind, showing love. and helping others. Like my book that I just read from, Read It Rawly, The Gifts of Life. It's a book. I mean, it got just categorized just into self-help slash. It's not an autobiography, and it's not a memoir, but it's a self-help book. But what makes it different is that it's more of and what I'm trying to say now, it's to help you help yourself. So that's what the book is about, and it's sort of sharing and things like that. And it's not, I don't necessarily tell you what to do. I share a lot of things, and I wrote it when I was 18. And that's very young, and I was going through trauma at the time. I was just experiencing trauma at the time, and how could I write a book? Well, that was something that I chose to do. It was a decision, and I must say, like, it actually helped me going through writing a book process. That was a good way to be productive mentally, and so I always recommend as well, but it's not always taken up, but it can be helpful. Definitely give it a try. If you buy a mini notebook and a pen or pencil, and just jot something down, freehand. Nobody's judging you, like, except you. If you've, you know, um, write a couple of things on paper, it's a great way to process. And if you're struggling in any kind of way, um, there is hope, there is help. There are millions of other humans on this planet Earth, and out of the choices that you have, only one sort of decision, or just very few. But ultimately, it's a decision. If you decide you're gonna isolate and like not allow other people even to be able to give you love, so or allow them to say, "Hey, I've noticed," and care about you, and could you come on? Don't resist love that's coming to you. Sometimes it's almost God sent that somebody comes, and this is rare, okay? So I do encourage you, reach out, find out, do your checks everywhere. And I'm not saying that you have that, I'm saying that it's important to do, and you can improve the quality of your life just by doing that. And also you can improve the quality and experience of other people's lives also by doing that. And I just want to say thank you to Willow Tree Kids for their earrings. Leanne is the designer and founder of that, and she's made a couple of adult items. She's got a lovely range of earrings, and I totally love it. And her toddler wear is really, really cool. It's really different. It's got a South African vibe to it. I recommend checking her out. Thank you so much for these, Leanne. You're blessed to be a blessing. Thank you. And these are like, you can buy these and you can check in the tag what it's supporting. You can also donate to different organizations, or you can go check something out, do something that's for others, lend someone an ear for 5 minutes. Acts of kindness that involves movement, and it is not hard to move to. I wouldn't say it's going the extra mile, but let's suppose it's going the extra mile and it's worth it, and it is not impossible, and there's a lot of things that just are simply not viable to be excuses, and it can hurt a lot of. A miscommunication happens a lot of times. Sometimes hurt can happen as well. sometimes you don't know what another person is going through, and they might not know what you're going through, and you're both kind of going through the same thing, and you both might be miscommunicating, or you both might be needing one another or expecting something from one another, but there's something that isn't quite gelling. Well, I suggest in that case that it's probably whatever's between the both of you that is stopping you from actually being together in person. Yeah, sure, you can communicate on technology devices, that's great, but not everything. You need to cherish the physical, the presence of another being, and be grateful for it. And it's good for you if you notice within yourself that you have been taking other people for granted. And if you notice that, that's not a time to then ramp it up. It's a time, then it becomes, the time is now. I'm going to start nudging that. I want to realize what I have in my life, and the people that I have, or the things that I have, and I can become grateful for it. Actually, you know what? I have a lot. And it's not about comparing yourself to others. No. It's about identifying within yourself, within your own life, what is real and what is tangible, and what is part of this life experience as well. Especially your family, your loved ones, you know. I'm not speaking this of your life, but we are all gonna die someday. And everyone deserves to feel loved, and everyone deserves to have the basic human rights met, and that's sad for me, and I wish I could solve all those problems. But try. I mean, sending just peace, love, blessing, sending a hand. I extend my hand, say I'm here. Call me on the banana phone. Reach out. I'm open to it. You don't have to feel shy. Nothing. I won't be judging you. And so, yeah. And often, sometimes, a lot of people, and I've said it a lot of times, when I got to a place where I genuinely wouldn't and couldn't judge people in the way that, I would often go and seek, or try and find out more information, and really try and understand instead of judging. But I catch myself when I do accidentally judge, because I'm human. But I'm rather more, I'll lean in more to find out. And then also, I just want to give this a sort of mention, is that you can make a decision not to. You can make a decision as to, even in the moment, am I going to judge this person? And am I going to use my judgment? Am I going to access my faith for this? Am I going to give into some kind of my own insecurity or fear, and then project it on another person unfairly? No, those are yes/no kind of things. A little pep talk with yourself. Me, when I see someone, especially I have had this one experience where I saw a guy. He was outside a restaurant, and but he had sat down on the pavement, and he was going like this. And I saw other people. They clearly didn't know him, but walking past him into the restaurant, and he was out of the restaurant. And I walked behind him, so I saw that, and I saw this man, and I felt concern, natural concern, and I also thought, I felt conflict. Why did those people pass? Okay, they don't know, they didn't notice, maybe. I tend to notice those things, and at that time I could, and I tapped the guy and I said, hey, are you okay? And he kind of turned towards me, started to look up to kind of see who is this person tapping me. And he was in tears. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I thought, like, hey, at that point in my mind, I was like, well, I'm gonna ask what's wrong. I'm gonna stand here for 5 minutes. I'm gonna listen to and make sure this guy's okay. And he shared a really personal, but it's amazing that he shared it with me, and he felt better afterwards, which is not something I could control. But for me, I was like, I couldn't walk past that. And it turned out that, I mean, like, and I'm not kind of wanting to criticize other people, but I'll give, like, I would sometimes criticize myself and be like, Darlie, you could have done this or that. But ultimately, I would set a different sort of goal, but sort of just open your eyes to what's around you. You never know that the person that's just come outside a restaurant, sitting down like this, is actually going through getting news of that their loved one has passed away. And that's the reason he was sitting there. That's the reason he was sitting down. And boy, like, did I feel it. And I mean, when he looked up at me, I'm like, yo, bro, like, what is up? I'm like, and I offered him a cigarette, or I tried to make him feel welcome. I said, you want to go? Like, I mean, and it's strangers. It's not, I'm not trying to pick someone up, but I'm trying to pick someone up. I'm trying to extend a hand to say, listen, I will, like, I'm standing here, I'm going to listen to you. Like, what's up? I actually care about human beings. I care that you can stand up and you can be okay. And I could give an encouraging word, but also mostly, it's amazing how and even with mental health as well. But it's amazing what a difference it can do. I mean, it can be life-saving. It is quite viable. It's amazing what can happen when you stop and give 5 minutes to listen to another person. And by God's grace, may that be returned to you as well. Because you might be in a place in life where you feel like you're invisible, transparent, and there's no point in talking anymore, or you're losing your voice trying to reach out. And that, like, go do something kind for someone else. See someone else and just open your eyes. If you're out there, get out, get some oxygen. There are other people out there that may be feeling exactly the same as you, and you never know what that 5 minutes can do. You might feel the love that you were seeking by listening to somebody else and realizing that they felt better. And that is almost something that you can, it's not about selfishness, it's about other people keeping a lookout, because you're not the one and only. You're not nobody listening to this, or me. Not the first one or only, or the last. Literally no. So, and we all have a lot of things in common. I talk about many gifts from my perspective in my book that we all share. But I'll speak about, our atmosphere. We all can share oxygen. We all can walk on the earth with gravity. We all have a chance to do that and observe something. We can walk through life. 1, 2, 3, get up and step up and try. Don't give up on life. Don't write yourself off from life. There's no reason to do that. Be open to it. Look up in the sky. Change that posture. Breathe. help somebody else breathe. I used to be a lifeguard back in the day. That was quite different. That was very intense. And we could perform CPR. We had a first aid. We were qualified lifeguards. And, like, it's amazing how, you know, you can get training to save another person's life. And you might not be successful, and that's not on you, but you can also hold another person's hand, and if they allow, or help another person, and you can help them by doing it, not just telling them to do it. You can, like, I've just given an example, but I'm just giving an example to a camera, like a camera phone. So, but sometimes I have to say, like, I'll do it with you. And I look eyes with the person and I say, come, let's go. And it's sort of like uneven at first, and I say, okay, let's go again. And just to get that breathing going, it's a flow, it's like, and also, like, it literally, like, to breathe, sometimes we, like, I don't know if you've noticed, sometimes it's like, I'll catch myself and be like, oh, I'm not breathing properly, I'm struggling to breathe, and I'm like a little bit panicked, and I'm and then, I'm like, okay, just sit down, go, move. Sometimes I need to get up. Sometimes I've gotten up, sometimes I'm like lost, feel dizzy in my own mind, or I actually am. You know what I reach for? Something stable. And breathe. So something to anchor myself, and then I breathe. And then for somebody else, I can also identify, oh goodness, and I can suggest, or I can ask, when last have you been outside? If somebody says to me inside, and with fluorescent lights and things like that, a lot of shopkeepers and things like that, I'll be like, when did you take your break, and did you go outside? And that can be a difference of a migraine. Get that oxygen, you deserve it, everyone can have, and get outside. There's gravity for a reason, that you can step by step. And yeah, spreading love, spreading awareness. Let's get together and be alright, okay? Cheers.